Hey, it's Chaya here with another episode of Naked, the Messy Middle Edition. Today I want to talk about depression. Full on, full force depression. I lived with it since I was a little girl. It wasn't diagnosed as depression then, and it took years until I actually realized, oh my God, I am depressed. Growing up without enough love, without enough kindness, without enough compassion, just without enough connection. It did something to me. Kids, babies, if they don't get love, will die. They wither and die. I didn't get that. I didn't get love. I got conditions. I got a bunch of strings attached. And chances are you might understand exactly what I'm talking about. I was given love on condition. As long as I did what they wanted, I could get love. To the extent that they were willing to give at the moment, which means that at some point I learned to find love in other places, in friends, in dangerous places too. And slowly but surely, I started to lose who I was. And with time came a lot of depression. And depression was a way of escaping, dealing with the pain of recognizing that what I did and didn't have, and recognizing who I was becoming because of that. And today, I want to be really real. Yesterday, I had a moment. I had a moment I haven't had in many, many years. A moment where I felt so bad about myself. Bad about, my process and who I felt like I was becoming and who I looked like, and the actions that I take sometimes. Totally based off of trauma-based and based off of my past. And I had this moment where I wanted it all done. I wanted it all done. I wanted it over. And it was just so painful because I felt like I came so far. I came so far from that little girl who was abused, that little girl who was choked, that little girl who was told she wasn't good enough, told that you think you're God's gift to the world, the girl who got a door slammed on her finger, the girl who got soap put in her mouth while being held up without a choice, and then told she was crazy that she thought there was soap there. Of course there wasn't soap there. The girl who ran to her room, the girl who got sexually abused again and again. I'd come so far from that girl. In fact, I wasn't that girl. I'm not that girl anymore. But in that moment, I was that girl. I was the girl who couldn't connect with anyone, who wasn't able to communicate how she feels in a way where it doesn't attack other people. You see, in my past, I learned that the only way I can be safe is if I threaten others. Now, it doesn't have to be a straight up threat, but it had to be in a way that was, if I was scarier than you, then you couldn't scare me. You couldn't hurt me. And sometimes what I had learned in the past, that actually saved my life. It saved my life. You understand? It's the reason why when he choked me, he didn't kill me. It's the reason why when he hurt me, I stood back up. When they said whatever they said, I kept standing because I came back and said, I'm going to be scarier than them. But it's also the reason why now I find myself so broken at times, because that shows up protecting me, trying to protect me, when really I created a world in which I don't need protection. I am protected. I'm okay. Now, I don't know where you're up to in your process, but I want to talk about depression for a moment because it's a real problem and we all have it. Some of us more than others, but we all have a moment where we want it all done. We want it all over. Every person has this at some point in their life. You might be more prone to it if you've had more trauma and more, different mental illnesses, and you might not be so prone to it. But we all have that moment where we feel so bad about ourselves that we just don't want to continue existing. And I'm not here to give you inspiration about it at this moment because I don't know what to give you on it. I don't know how to inspire with it because I don't yet know how it's possible to have that and be inspiring. But I want to be honest about it. Because yesterday when I felt that bad and I felt that depression that I haven't felt in months, and I felt that suicide ideation, which is a world I haven't gone to in years, there was this moment. It was just a moment because I had worked on this already and I was able to snap back out. But there was a moment that I forgot all about. A moment where I thought I was worthless. Where I thought I couldn't do anything right. Where I thought no matter how far I'll go, those demons, they live inside me. And at some point, I can hurt others. I can be unsafe to others because of that. There was a moment where I wanted to hurt me, to end it all. And you see, in the past, these moments would last longer than moments because I didn't know how to snap back out. I didn't know that that was just a moment. I didn't recognize that. It felt like everything. And I want to tell you, it's not everything. In that moment, it's everything. But if you stick with it, just sit with it. Sit with how shit it feels. Excuse my language. Sit with how much you don't like it. How little you want to sit with how bad it feels. And I want to tell you like this. That's what I did. In that moment, I just sat with me. And I was literally just so angry and so pained and I didn't even know why. I had a really good night. I done something so that I was so proud of, and I felt so good. And then suddenly it was just like a turn of events. It was like, you can't be that good. Let me show you who you really are. And then there was this just downward spiral of like fear and anxiety and just a lot of fear. Terror is the right word. And then I felt like I needed to leave the world I created. The world I worked so hard and worked so hard every single day to create. I felt like I didn't want to ever make another video again. I didn't want to ever share again or try to do anything for this world. And I reached out to God and I told him if I, in the place that I'm at, am able to find a way to keep showing up for myself, even when I don't feel like I'm connected with myself, even when I feel like it's just not going to help, then you got to find a way to show up for me. I put him to the test. I challenged him. And I want you to know something. God is there. There's a universe out there. There is love and kindness in there, whatever you want to call it. God, the universe, the flow. Even if you don't open up your heart to it. Even if you speak up and say, you know what, I can't open my heart to it. Show up and open it for me. It will. And that's what happened. The door just opened. And suddenly I realized that it was okay. And that I can do it. That I'd be fine. And you know, it scares me that happened. There's a lot of fear that shows up with that. Fear upon fear upon fear. But I'm here to talk about it because no one talks about this. Few do. But I want to say something from that open, painful place. It's a lie. Depression is built on the lies you were told. You are not worthless. They told you that. Those piece of people who were in your life when you were little, who told you you weren't good enough because you couldn't sleep through the night and it bothered their sleep. Who told you weren't good enough because you didn't clean your room. You were never going to amount to anything. You were never going to find love. You were never going to find happiness. Those people, they lied to you. And as long as we continue to believe their lies and let them determine how we feel, depression's not far off. But what if the next time that depression shows up, what if the next time that empty feeling shows up, you don't run? What if you sit with how bad it feels? And you recognize, my God, I didn't tell myself these stuff. I never would. Because human nature, we don't, if properly trained, if properly raised, we don't tell ourselves bad stuff. In fact, we tell ourselves only good. That's the nature of a human. We tell ourselves how we'll survive, how we'll do amazing, how we'll do... That's what our natural instincts are. What if you realize in that moment, my God, I went through hell. And it's catching up right now, but what if I hold me through it? And as I said, I'm not here to tell you any inspiration on it, rather to tell you it's a real space and I see you. I see you. I was just there. On certain levels, am you. You're not alone. You're not worthless. And you're not good for nothing. Or whatever they called you. You're not. You're not stupid. You're not fat. You're not ugly. I don't care what they said. You are what you decide you are. And if right now you can't help it and you can only listen to their lies, fine. But know this, that tomorrow you may not listen to them. Tomorrow you may just skip all over everything they've said about you. You may just show them this new version of you. The one that is the real you underneath it all. The one that's endless and protected and powerful as ever, no matter what they said. All right, our time's up. I hope that helps. I'll see you soon. Like and subscribe, please.